Okay, good evening, leaders. If you can hear me, probably you can wave or you can give me a thumbs up. Or you say, yes, I can hear you. Just to be able to confirm we are communicating. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Samuel Mwangi. Dominic, I can see you. Dominic Mwangi, I can see you. Thank you so much. Asante sana. I trust the others can also be able to hear me well. Maureen, how are you, Maureen? Good, Maureen. Yeah, so I take the opportunity to welcome all of you for this session. Trust your week has been well. And we are happy just to continue engaging on this very, very important conversation about leadership, because to us as global leaders network, we believe that a better life starts by becoming a better leader. Yeah, so if I have to improve my life, then the turning point is basically on how I invest on my leadership. So a better leader is a better life. A better leader equals a better family, equals a better community, a better nation, and a better world. In other words, we are saying nothing changes until we engage on this conversation of leadership. So it's our pleasure to always hang out together on Saturdays and just have a healthy conversation on how do we better our leadership and how do we help the teams that we are leading to be able to offer better leadership to other teams that they are also leading. So I take the opportunity to welcome all of you and just request that we start with a word of prayer, and then we'll be able to move on to today's session. So let's just believe together and pray. Heavenly Father, we are grateful for the opportunity to continue engaging and discussing on these issues of leadership. It's our prayer that, Lord, as we continue to learn, we'll be able to experience that inner transformation and truly reflect the leadership that glorifies you, O God. This night, we commit our discussions to you. We commit our participants to you. And we pray that, oh Lord, take us through, lead us through your knowledge, through your wisdom, so that we can understand your mind better and we can come out transformed for the glory of your name. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Allow me to start by probably just looking at how the experience has been over the week. We started engaging on book review this week. We were looking at chapter 1 and chapter 3. So we skipped chapter 2. And most of you, I think probably over 90%, were able to submit their book review. Basically, this is just to enhance this program and also to enhance our experience so that we can have a deepened understanding of some of the concepts that we are discussing. As you can notice, the time that we have is quite brief, 1 hour, 30 minutes, really short. So by undertaking the book review, we are able to probably grasp some of these concepts much faster. And that also enriches our discussions when we are having such kind of sessions. So I'll maybe start by asking maybe 2 of us just to share our experience. What was the key message that you are able to pick from chapter 1, sorry. Let's start with chapter 1. As you went through the review, what was the main message that you were able to pick from that chapter, if you can share with us as a team. We can take 2 people for chapter 1, and then we'll have 2 other people for chapter 3, for the interest of time. And then the rest we can engage, hopefully, in the groups later on. So any volunteers that may want to share your experience on chapter 1? Chapter 1, the main message that you're able to pick from that chapter. Yes, so anybody who may want to go first? Chapter 1, I know all of us perused through or scanned through or did our summary, but we can just listen to a few.
Yes, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Yes, my name is Bizo. I want to comment to give a review on chapter 1. Briefly, what I picked there was that great leaders have an ideal they live for, are ready. Number 2, great leaders know when they have accomplished their mission and are supposed to hand over the baton. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bizo. The issue of passing the baton is done intentionally and it's planned out. Thank you for that. One more on chapter 1. One more contribution on chapter 1.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
What I learned is that true leadership begins from within. So for me to know that I'm a leader, I have to check myself from within. And also I learned that my identity defines my purpose, my vision, and my mission in life. So it's very important for me to know what my true identity is, or to discover who I am really. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Albert from Mombasa. So basically the issues of identity, that is the base of our leadership. And there is also the issues of intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. The book talks about how purpose-driven leaders are driven from the inward motivation, intrinsic motivation. So they are leading for a purpose. It's something that propels them from in, and that is very important because it helps them to maintain momentum, motivation, and also they are able to serve because they're not looking basically on the external or extrinsic motivation, what they are getting. What they are getting is good, is well received, but is not the core, is not the main drive of their leadership. So that is one key message that we can summarize from that book. The rest of us, feel free to share on the chat. What was your reflection on chapter 1? Always feel free to post on the chat, and then we'll look at it as we continue. Otherwise, let me also invite 2 people to share on your reflection on chapter 3. What was a single message that you were able to pick from chapter 3? Just 2 people only. So any volunteers for chapter 3? What came out clearly on chapter 3? Yes, Mr. Dominic, you can unmute and proceed. Dominic, please unmute.
From chapter 3 is what can bring leadership is the discovery issue and managing it and being in it.
Mhm. Yeah, very true, very true. Someone else, just to give us another perspective or similar.
Yeah, I want to share.
Yes, Margaret.
Hello.
Welcome, Margaret.
Me, thank you. Chapter 3 was talking more about a philosophy, the leader's philosophy. And what stood out for me is that a leader should be authentic and not try to copy any other person. And that means that whatever drives him should be her belief system and convictions, so that those principles will guide in the leadership, in her or his leadership. So for me, it was more on the philosophy and what really motivates me or whoever else is as a leader to do what they do. So that is how I took it.
Yeah, thank you, Margaret. Philosophy. Somewhere in Proverbs, the Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. And basically, the philosophy of a leader is very powerful. So what I think about leadership, what I think about people determines how I lead people and the kind of leadership that I am offering. And therefore, this is why we are always very careful to realign our philosophy based on the philosophy of Jesus Christ. He's our model of leadership. And therefore, whatever other principles and philosophy we might look at, our point of reference is majorly on the kind of leadership that Jesus offered, which was anchored on servanthood. A leader that is comfortable to wash the feet, because it's not the act that defines you, but it's the motivation and the philosophy behind it that really defines you as a leader. So thank you, Margaret, for that. Joseph Ezekiah, you had unmuted. Do you have a comment to share? Yes, Joseph, please proceed.
Hello.
Hello. Hello, Joseph. Hello. If you can hear me, you can proceed. Or still, you can feel free to share on the chat as we continue. So leaders, I think this is the way we'll engage on the book review. Sometimes we'll get into the groups. We just create some small groups to engage on the book review, as well as the discussions we are having. And sometimes we just have a plenary session just to be able to discuss what came out strong from our book review. So for the rest of us, always feel free to share on the chat. What was the key message that you were able to pick from the book review? And then we'll look at the messages and your posts as we continue. Otherwise, today we are looking at leadership development models. And we want to see how do we align, how do we plan out our leadership development, and which kind of models can we adapt to help us out in terms of our growth. So as we go through this, we'll try to look and reflect internally so much and think about what is applicable for you as a leader and probably even for your people. So let's walk through, and then we'll be able to pick through what is coming out as a key message from our discussion. Otherwise, to help us just look back, we started discussing about the 5 C's. We discussed the 6 I's, and I will want us to pick, as part of the recap, some of the words that you can see from this chart that we discussed, and post them here on the chat. And as we do that, I can see Maureen, you are saying in chapter 3, I found this interesting. Leaders need to have a winning mentality. Thank you, Maureen. A winning mentality. So what keywords can you see from this? From this crossword of puzzle. Yeah, inspiration, true. We have inspiration. We have compassionate, and these are attributes of a leader. Compassionate, inspiration. There are quite a number, so let me pick, we can pick around maybe 5. Competency, yeah, competency was among the 5 C's that we discussed. Competency, clarity, character, conviction. We talked about compassion. Competency is coming out again, Maureen. Let me pick 3 more. 3 more. So we have seen the 5 C's. Inspiration is among the 6 I's that we discussed. I can pick 3 more keywords that are in this puzzle. So we have compassionate, inspiration, competency. Impact, yes, we have impact, Silas, we have impact. So we have 2 I's, impact and inspiration. Let me pick one more, and then we proceed. One more. So someone help us to move on just by sharing one more.
Integrity.
Yeah, integrity, true integrity is also there among the 6 I's that we discussed. Yeah, so there are quite a number of attributes that we discussed. There are issues of influence, impact. The leadership is also there in the puzzle. Inspiration, integrity, which has been mentioned. Intelligence, this was among our 6 I's. Integration, we said we cannot lead in isolation. We need to work and mingle with the people. There's a management principle referred to as MBWA, management by walking around or moving around. So even for leadership, that is important. Then competency, clarity, and vision. We have conviction, compassionate, and then we have character. So as we look at leadership development models, I want to start our discussions by looking at what John Maxwell said. The single biggest way to impact an organization is to focus on leadership development. And we can replace an organization with an individual so that we look at it in from self-leadership all the way to organizational leadership. So the turning point is always on leadership. And those organizations that are able to realize this, or individual, you realize they're able to perform well, able to rise and sustain their success for a longer time. And Robin Sharma, the author of The Leader Who Had No Title, says that the swiftest way to triple your success is to double your investment in personal development. So if I need to triple my success, then the area that I need to focus on is my investment on personal development. Personal development is what distinguishes every successful leader that we have come across. And therefore, let me pose a question here. I wish to pose a question here. We may not answer in the plenary, but you can answer you as a person. Just look at it and answer. And the question is this: what programs or activities are you engaging in currently for enhancement of your personal development. And here we are talking about activities that are more intentional, something you have thought through, planned through, and now you are on it, you are implementing it. So are there programs, are there activities that you are currently engaging in that are enhancing your personal development? Just think about this, and probably you can just answer it yourself, reflect on it, think about it, look at those intentional ones, the intentional, not the ones that maybe are based on circumstance or based on other, they're coming from external, but something that you have purposed and you've been able to engage through. And this can include something related to education or professional development or research, an area you are researching on. It can be life skills programs, it can be workshops, seminars, conferences. It can also be books, maybe a book that you are reading, which is enhancing your personal development. It can also be videos you are watching, maybe online, or even journals, and many other examples of activities or programs that we can engage in to be able to help us in our personal growth. And basically, why this is important, we're saying that without a commitment to a planned, that's why I insisted on the word intentional, a planned growth, any growth that will occur might be based on circumstance rather than intentional. And this is a very important component, both of successful leadership, that we cannot leave it on circumstance. It has to be planned out and rolled out in a very systematic and in a purposeful way. So as we think about our leadership development, we need to encompass or to cover these three areas. One is how I need to grow my self-leadership, leading self, how I need to grow my people leadership, leading people, and then how I need to also grow in terms of organizational leadership, leading the organization. So I'll highlight just briefly, in terms of leading self, the key thing here, or the key area of focus, is personal mastery. Personal mastery and authentic leadership. Becoming more self-aware of yourself in terms of probably the strength, in terms of your area of leadership, in terms of those qualities that gives you the mandate to be able to lead, and then you grow them. And this can be achieved through, maybe one of the tools is 360 feedback process, where you're able to get feedback from those that you are you're looking up to, those that you are peers leading together, and also those that you are leading or mentoring. And also the issues of values, purpose, and core beliefs, and basically that aspect of being in a position to articulate your personal vision. So that's key when it comes to leading self. Personal mastery is the key word there. For leading people, the key word here is relationship mastery, interpersonal excellence, the issues of collaboration and partnership skills, maybe becoming a better communicator, being in a position to influence, being a person who can deal with conflict, negotiations, as well as emotional intelligence, managing people and developing their potential, and being able to engage in a healthy conversation or in a healthy dialogue and feedback. So leading people is more of outward looking, and we need to develop now that aspect of relationship mastery, which I'm sure all of us, we are within these areas. And some of these things, I know we have gone through them, we are practicing them. So it's just a matter of refreshing what we are already doing. And then lastly, we have leading the organization. So the key word is how to achieve high performance culture, or to build and sustain high performance culture, attaining peak performance in an organization. And this comes through visioning and strategy. A clear vision, clear strategy is important. Being able to lead change, being able to sustain performance, and also building a culture of commitment and trust, and more importantly, systems thinking or critical thinking. That becomes very important. So these are just a highlight of some of the issues that we need to focus on these 3 domains. So leading self, personal mastery, leading people, it's about becoming people smart, relationship mastery, and then leading the organization is how do we achieve peak performance? And that informs us in terms of the programs or the activities that are important to help you as a leader and the people that you are leading to be able to grow in these particular areas. So for today, we'll highlight 3 models that can guide us in our personal development programs or activities. One of them is what we refer to as iceberg leadership model. And then we look at the 80-20 and the success triangle development model. For the iceberg leadership development model, it categorizes our development in 2 areas: the hard skills, and this can be technical or professional skills. These are teachable and measurable abilities. And also we have the soft skills, and basically these are traits that make you a good leader or a better leader. And what are those traits? Communication, listening, and emotional intelligence, social integrity, social intelligence, purpose, motive, clarity of motive, all these. And as you can see from the iceberg model, the soft skills, they take a bigger share when you are looking at your personal growth. Actually, they take between 80 to 90% of our focus, of our time, and of our investment. Hard skills, they've been given probably 10 to 20%. They are important, yes, but in terms of impact, in terms of leadership, then they need a boost. And this boost comes from the soft skills. And I probably, maybe some of us have gone through an experience where you have leaders that have really grown very hard or very high in hard skills, but they have one way or another probably not taken a good focus or a clear focus on soft skills. And therefore you realize as you rise or they rise technically, then these issues of offering better leadership, being able to lead the people becomes a challenge. But they can perform alone. But when they are with the people, it becomes a challenge. So this balance is important. And the tip also represents what we refer to as horizontal development. And the lower part represents what we refer to as vertical development. I don't know if any of us is able to share our understanding on these 2 areas. If we talk about horizontal development, what does it encompass? And if we talk about vertical development, what does it encompass? Anybody who can just share a comment on this as we move on? Any volunteer from your own perspective, your own research, or your own experience in leadership? What does horizontal development mean to you? And vertical development, what do these 2 terms mean in terms of leadership? Just one volunteer. Either you can unmute or you can just share on the chat. But if you unmute, I think it will be much better. And we said here that we have all the answers. They mean something, so there's no wrong or right answer. It's just a matter of trying to share our experiences and trying to learn from each other from different perspectives. So horizontal development and vertical development, what do they mean when it comes to personal growth and development? Just one volunteer, and then we'll move on.
Good How are you, Tim?
Good evening.
Good evening to you.
Yes,
I
Mr.
think
Joshua.
Horizondo.
Yes, Mr. Joshua.
Yeah, Horizondo is adding the skills to a leader so that he may become a better person.
Mhm.
Whereas vertical, whatever the skills that you have already obtained, you are able to use them in the vertical. That is what I can say.
Thank you, Mr. Joshua, for that precise summary. Exactly as you have said, that is what it is. So horizontal development, mostly it focuses on gaining more knowledge, skills, and information. How to expand your toolkit by adding more skills, more knowledge, more competence. So it's becoming more competent in line to the knowledge and skills. But vertical development now is more on application. How do we apply this? So it's gaining new perspectives and leadership mindsets that are needed to be able to come up with better strategy in our leadership. So it's more about being in a position to deal with more complex and sophisticated ways of leading or even thinking, leading in complex or uncertain situations. And vertical will always focus on expanding your mindset, changing the way you think and also the way you lead. So, but as Joshua has put it clear, horizontal is more learning, more knowledge, more skills. Yeah, so vertical is not just about the training as a leader in terms of skills. It focuses on transforming the leader in terms of how a leader thinks. And this will impact what also as a leader I'm able to do, how I'm able to undertake my leadership. And their focus or their attention is to help leaders become more adaptable. Because we realize as the leadership spaces change, then it calls for more application, not just probably of what we learned, but how what we learned can help us to adapt in the new situation that might require an approach that is not direct, but an approach that maybe is a hybrid. So it needs a lot of thinking through to be able to come up with a clear solution. So it's more of a self-awareness, more of collaboration, and it goes beyond the skill. So it's basically, we can talk about where you now use the experience or the knowledge that translates that to something else or to be able to adapt in your leadership space. So I can see Mr. Mwangi, your hand is raised.
Yeah, thank you, Joseph. Just a quick one.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this concept of horizontal development. And I think when we look at the current course that this team is currently taking, would fit very within that definition, because essentially it is designed to broaden the functionality of a leader and to help you to be able to do more. It's designed the leader to process their world, their circle of influence, and operate more effectively. It means that the course you are currently taking on leadership basically can easily fit there, because there is a skill you are going to get and it's going to put you in a different operation from where you're operating before. Thank you. Over.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mwangi. Yeah, to process our world, to understand our world, and see how to respond. We are calling it a VUCA world. It's a world of that is very volatile, a world full of uncertainty, a world that is complex, and also a world that is ambiguous. We are not very precise in terms of what works. So there's a lot of trials And therefore, a leader that is able to adapt is very key in this kind of the setup that we are in at the moment. So leadership, as we grow, we are saying leadership is a function that requires the will to lead. And I think this is there in the manual. You can be able to check on the manual. There are some blank spaces to the very beginning of the lesson 3. So those blank spaces that we have there, if you're able to get to that page. Lesson 3, are we there? Dominic, are we there on lesson 3? Dominic Mwangi?
Yes, we are there.
Yeah, that is
there.
page, that is which page?
13.
Yeah, page 13. So let's check on page 13. And we are saying this is good because now when we're talking about growth and development, maybe these are also areas that we need to look at. So it's a function that requires that willingness to be able to lead. And that one we're calling it the heart set, the heart to lead. Knowledge is key, either in terms of your domain, also in terms of leadership. Then we have the skills to be able to offer better leadership, and also the sacrifice to lead, the trade-off. So basically, it's what is very important here is what we refer to as a growth mindset. The growth mindset will have a mindset to learn, a heart set to learn, and also skill set to be able to lead. So these are important areas. And the iceberg leadership model, the 20%, which is the tip, this is where we have the knowledge, skills, and experience. And we are saying this is good, but it's limited to information, maybe based on education, professional growth, experience. And then we have the base, which is the 80%. And this is where we have the heart set and the mindset of a leader. The attitude, the perceptions, the philosophy that we talked about, the beliefs, the motive, and the cause, among others, the thinking styles, the self-image, and the world view. This is the essence of a leader. And this is really what defines a leader at the end of the day. Because as we'll be looking at the attitude later on, you realize that people tend to define a leader more, not just on the skills or knowledge, but on the attitude, the mindset, the heart set. That is really what defines a leader. And that's how people tend to define a leader. So this is what encompasses the iceberg leadership development model. And therefore, as I plan my growth, I'm able also to work in terms of the proportion. The 20% is important. I give it a certain level of focus and investment. But again, I need to take care of this 80% because this is what can sink or lift a leader. And if you look even historically, most leaders that have had challenge, it has mostly been on the 80%, not on the 20%, mostly on the 80%. So if we combine this with what we refer to as success triangle, success triangle is a very simple concept. It basically says for you to be successful in whatever domain, even including leadership, then you need to take care of knowledge in that domain, grow in knowledge, grow in skills, but also grow in terms of the attitude. Because attitude is really what distinguishes between successful and unsuccessful people. It's a major factor. And we're saying your attitude, how you think about yourself, how you think about others, and how you think about leadership. Zig Ziglar, who is an author from US, he says that your attitude, I added there, not your aptitude, will determine your altitude. So how far we go in life, how well we lead as leaders is majorly dependent on this key aspect that we are discussing today, referred to as attitude. So from the success triangle, the skills can encompass the ones you can see there on the screen. We have communication, we have interpersonal skills, among the others that are listed there. Attitudes, we are talking about the issues of commitment, the issues of honesty, integrity, self-confidence, amongst the others. And then knowledge are basically the information that I'm able to pick in, the facts that I'm able to learn from my domain of leadership. Tony Robbins, in his book, The Psychology of a Winner, he says success in life is 80% psychology and 20% mechanics. What you do does not matter if you are not in the right mindset. And that's the power of the mindset and also the power of what we are discussing, the attitude. Finally, the last model is the 80-20 leadership development model. This is derived from the Pareto principle that states that for many outcomes, roughly 80% of consequences, they come from 20% of the causes. So 80% of what we are experiencing today might be resulting from 20% of what you have identified or what you are doing mostly. I'll unpack this one as we continue. And there's another author who talks about the exemptional or the making of exemptional performance. He's referred to as Carl Van. And Carl Van, he says that performance or leadership is 80% attitude toward a job or a role, and 20% skills, knowledge, and experience. An individual performance is more closely linked to how they perceive, describe their job than what they know or what they can do. Yeah, so a higher level of knowledge, a higher level of what we know and what we can do is anchored on how we perceive the role and how we describe the role. That inner understanding of or the appreciation of what we are doing or our engagements. So attitude directly impacts performance and job satisfaction. So, and this tells us that then a lot of weight is required. If something is given 80%, it means it has high impact in terms of a leader's life or even any other person that is performing a particular role. So leadership quality is 80% of personal essence. And what we have also looked at from the iceberg model, the mindset, the heart set, the attitude, and then 20% skill set, knowledge base, what we refer to as the aptitude. And therefore, an effective leader must be able to prioritize the 20% vital few from the Pareto rule, the 20% vital few, and give those 20% more effort. Yeah, so the 20% can be on skills, knowledge, activities that we talked about, and that will always give us the 80% output or impact. So in other words, just to put it in a very summarized way, we are saying, as a leader, I need to pick out what are my vital few. Vital few, it can be in terms of the strength, can be in terms of those qualities that you possess as a leader. It can be in terms of probably the special skills. And that is your 20% that is able to give you maximum impact. Yeah, so if someone is well aligned with the 20% effort or focus on the vital few, or identifying the vital few and focusing on the vital few, you're able to have more impact in terms of 80%. But if I'm not well aligned, then I'll spend 80% effort to get 20% results. So what we are saying here, as a leader, I need to pick out what are my vital few and give them maximum focus. Vital few, then I give them maximum focus. And those vital few It can be strength, can be skills. Strength means skills. It can be a gift. It can be a special skill, a special ability, which distinguishes me, or which is also part of what gives me the inner satisfaction. So there are other ways that this principle applies, just to be able to help us appreciate it from different other perspectives. If you can see on the screen there, we are saying 20% of your effort gives you 80% of your results. That is if you are properly aligned. Yeah. Other examples, 20% of customers bring 80% of revenue. That's very possible. 80% of work is completed by 20% of the team. And then 80% of complaints come from 20% of customers. So this principle applies in different ways. And as we think about that, the vital few, probably I felt it's good to think about this time management quadrant. So the 4 quadrants of time management, so that what falls under the urgent and important, or what falls, your vital few needs to be those things that you have to do them yourself, or those that requires the first priority. So it can be what is important to you, and probably even what is also urgent to you. So you need to do that. Not necessarily what we have said, it can be a crisis or problem solving, but it can be something of high priority or high importance to you. Yeah. Those that are not urgent, but they're important, then probably you can do them later or decide or schedule them. There are those that are urgent, but not important. Those are areas that we can obviously be able to delegate. But what is not urgent and not important, I think is something that can be eliminated from our time as we slot in and plan out our time. So I think this one probably is something that we have come across quite a number of times. So I just wanted to flash through without really going to so much details, so that we can see the 20%, the vital few are important. And those are the areas that can fall under what we feel is very important to us as a leader. So leaders, as we continue, you can share any reflection on the chat. Yeah, just feel free to share any reflection on the chat, and then we'll look at it. Reflection, it can also be what is your takeaway from our discussion. Post it on the chat. We can look at it as we conclude this lesson. So I'll conclude by talking about the power of attitude in leadership, because we have consistently repeated this word attitude from the very beginning of our discussion. So just good to have a highlight on this. And we are saying this is a set of emotions, beliefs, and behaviors towards either a particular person or a thing. And where does it come from? It can come from experience or our upbringing, our environment, and it powerfully influences our behavior as leaders. And I remember I said that attitude defines personality. Attitude defines personality. It's much easier to define a person based on the attitude that they are displaying. Just think about the occasions that you have been in a place and you felt like, wow, I'm not happy the way I've been served. I'm not happy the way I've been handled. I'm not happy the way we have interacted with this person. Yeah, maybe all of us can probably have an experience of where we have interacted with, even without knowing how qualified the person is, you are able to, from the first impression, and that is now where the attitude plays a big role, be able to create some perception about this person. And it either creates a boundary or is able to help you connect with the person. So there are a number of different types of attitudes. So there are leaders who have a positive attitude, keeping a positive mindset and thinking about the greater good, no matter whatever the circumstances are. So you're looking at possibilities, you're looking at solutions. You're looking at the greater good of you as a leader and the people that you are leading. So, and this kind of people are able to always crack the way out. They're always able to see a solution. I always like referring to the example of Jesus with the 5,000 men, excluding the women and ladies, women and children, out there in the desert, in a deserted place. And here the disciples were exploring and they felt there's no food. These guys need to be sent out. But Jesus came up with a very simple way of feeding these people. The first was to challenge them, and because he challenged them to feed the people. And they had gone to him because they didn't have a solution. But he took them back to think through. There is always a way. And maybe you already have the solution with you. So positive thinkers are able to pick solutions, not necessarily from themselves, but they also they can help the people to think soberly and be able to get the solutions that are just in their midst, because a negative attitude can lock us from seeing what is just with us. So positive attitude brings the aspects of collaboration. These leaders are collaborative and also complementary. And that's a very important word. They're more resilient, confident, they're sincere, and also determined. So a positive attitude brings strength, gives you the inner strength, generates energy, motivation, and also initiative, because you feel there's something that you can do. Negative attitude, this kind of a leader will ignore the good in life, ignore the good things in life, and only think about what or why things cannot work. I think maybe you've been close or around leaders that tend to think in this way. So they are often competitive and comparative, not complementary. They're less resilient. Yeah, they get quickly frustrated when things are not working out. And we are saying a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You can't go anywhere until you change it. Until you change it, you cannot be able to go anywhere. So think about this also and just reflect in your leadership space. And also as we think about how do we help such kind of people in our midst, and how do we deal with them? Because we are leaders and we'll always encounter all these attitudes within our leadership spaces. Then we have neutral attitude. These they are neither here nor there. There is no hope, yet there is some hope. So they generally tend to ignore problems in life. They want to be safe. They feel disconnected quite often. They never feel the need to change themselves, and they can simply live just the way they are. And we are saying for neutral leaders, my attitude is based on how you treat me. So I'll react differently. The challenge with this kind of leaders is that they're not able to make decisions, timely decisions. So it ends up impacting them, and also it ends up impacting the organization. So this is not a good state to be as a leader. And then we have the second attitude. This is much stronger than negative state of mind. It destroys the image of every element that reflects in the mind. It destroys it. A solution comes, it destroys it. So it's much more aggressive, negative attitude, so much rooted within one's personality. And Scott Hamilton said, the only disability in life is a bad attitude. Think about a leader that you felt did not display a good attitude. Or even our own experiences. Maybe there are times we are also affected, or we are affected. And how do we now walk out of this? Because unless we work on this, unless we help our team to work on this, then we'll not be able to pick a solution that is just close to us. So people may hear your words, but they feel your attitude. And Miles Monroe says, true leadership is an attitude that naturally inspires and motivates others. It comes from an internalized discovery about yourself. So attitude reflects leadership. And leadership is practiced not so much in what we say, but in what we reflect. Leadership is practiced not so much in what we say, but so much in what we reflect. And what we reflect is based on our attitude and our actions. And therefore, as we conclude, I want to say that attitude defines a leader's personality. And generally, a leader's attitude will either be inspiring or depressing. There are leaders you always want to attach yourself with. Yeah. Leaders who are able to create that positive vibration. Leaders who are, they always feel you, they make you feel like you can change the world, but they are also helping you to be able to walk through the steps of changing the world. So these are inspirational leaders. So a bad or good attitude has the power to influence people's thoughts and behavior. And remember that attitude defines a person, defines the personality. So as we walk through, as we plan our leadership development, later on we'll focus on this topic again, but leadership balance and priority diagram gives you just a glimpse of what we need to do. That I need to balance my 20% skills, knowledge, and aptitude, which with the 80% personal essence. Remember the iceberg. And I also need to prioritize the vital few, the 20% of courses that gives me the 80% of impact. Successful leaders, they embrace positive mental attitude, which is a catalyst. So what is on the lower side of the iceberg is a catalyst to the skills, knowledge, and experience. And the lower side, as I said, takes more effort to grow. It's not as easy as the tip, because the tip is skills which are teachable and measurable. But when it comes to behavioral competencies, they are more difficult to assess and develop. And therefore, it takes inner drive, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of practice, coaching, mentorship, to be able to grow on those lower part, or to grow your lower part of the iceberg. So leaders, I think this just gives us just a reflection and just a picture of what we need to focus on as we plan out our leadership growth. Because we say that nothing changes until we're able to intentionally focus on how to be able to grow in our leadership development. So let me pause here for 5 minutes, just for 5 minutes, just to be able to help us reflect on what we have discussed, because I'm seeing within the next other 25 minutes, we can conclude with lesson 2. But before we go to that, I'll just want to open this for our reflection. What is your take home? You know, we are already home, but what is your takeaway from this discussion? We can have 3 reflections, or 3 people just reflecting on what is your takeaway? What is the single most important message that you are picking from our discussions tonight? Just 3 people.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, very, very interesting topic. So my take here is that, first of all, we need to pick, as a leader, I need to pick my vital few and give them maximum focus. That is one. Number 2 is there is no disability except a bad attitude. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bizo. Yeah, Joshua, you are saying attitude is key to success. Thank you, Joshua. We can pick maybe, let's pick two more.
I'm Silas. I wanted to say my takeaway is on just like the saying says that show me your friends and I'll tell you the kind of person you are. I'm able to look at it in the aspect that show me your leadership style. I'll be able to tell you the kind of attitude that you have. That if leadership is successful, that it means you have a positive attitude in leadership. So my takeaway is attitude reflects leadership. Thank you.
Yeah. True. Attitude reflects leadership. Thank you so much, Silas. We can have one more reflection. Mr. Mwangi.
Maybe, thank you, Joseph. Just to a comment, is actually a rejoinder on what the previous speaker has just said about show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And I think this topic is extremely important because it's all hedged on the final outcome of who you want to be in terms of for which you are created. And I think it was outlined one of this in the chapter 3, the purpose for being. And the aspect of acquisition is very, very critical for individual personal development. And it reminded me, it has triggered a history, because I think in an adult class, sometimes it's good to think practical in terms of how life is. For those who have been reading a lot, you may have read a book or some records of one person called Alfred Kinsey. If you have not read about that person, just take some time off and try to read about Alfred Kinsey. He was actually a Harvard. He was a Harvard trained graduate and a lecturer. He was actually teaching a family in a number of universities in the US. In the 1938, he was a biologist. And that person has influenced America and where we are today in terms of issues of sexuality. If you see what has happened, what is really happening in the world today, in the issues of related to cases of rape, GBV, and others, you can track two books which were written by one Alfred Kinsey in 1940s. And this was that's actually 1948. Then you can see the aspect of vision, what we had read earlier, and the kind of people we associate with, how they can really influence our lives. So just to look at whom do you work with and how can they impact negatively in our lives, and also can be positive. I'm relating to a previous talk where we are talking about your behavior can either be positive or negative. So go through it in your own time, and then you can relate to how somebody can use the knowledge they have, because we have talked about knowledge and attitude, and see how some of it can be destructive and others can also be very, very useful in life, so that it helps you to shape our as we develop as readers, it will be able to help us understand even the world in which we are living, so that when we talk about Christ, we can easily be able to see who is our friend and who is not. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mwangi. Yeah, thank you. Maureen, you are saying attitude directly impacts performance and job satisfaction. That is your takeaway. And that's very important. So I'll want to connect this lesson to the next lesson. It's more of a continuation. So whatever we have gone through, we'll build as we move on to the next lesson. We want to cover 2 lessons tonight. So allow me just to move on to the next lesson as I also share what is the leadership challenge for lesson 3. So as a leader, identify and prioritize your 20% vital few. That can be skills, knowledge, attitude, habits, or the strengths that leads to 80% effect, impact, influence, inspiration, or output, whatever other words we can use there. So focus on developing your area of strength with the highest level of impact and satisfaction. So developing your area of strength with highest level of impact and satisfaction. So this is the leadership challenge. I will post this on the with the self-evaluation. So self-evaluation is very key because it also encompasses our leadership challenge for each and every lesson. So let's move on to the core 4 leadership skills. There are 4 very important leadership skills that we need to focus on as we build. But before that, we have talked about attitude. We have talked about what describes a leader. We have talked about probably the single one word you can share about a leader. It can be in terms of attitude. It can be in terms of their philosophy, or even in terms of development. And the question here is, this is just a sort of an icebreaker. What is your one word about these leaders? So if we see this man on the screen, what is your one word about this leader? And maybe to help us move faster, we can share on the chat. What is your one word about this leader? Just one word. I can take maybe 3. I'll take 3 because there are about 6 leaders, just to save on time. Yeah, focused. Margaret, you're saying focused. Wow. Mr. Kahen, we're also saying focused. I take the last one. One word about this leader. Action-oriented. And I think these are positive. That's a positive reflection about this leader. We have another leader here. What's your one word about this leader? Joshua, you're saying consistent, so I'm not sure consistent is for the second or the first or the second leader, but I'll take it for the second leader, consistent. Your one word about Nelson Mandela, the former president of, purposeful, even in jail, he still remained. Inspirational, intentional, Paul. Selfless, I think that's also very strong, selfless. It's also very positive reflection, intelligent, realistic. Wow. Okay, let me move on. How about this one? This one, the leader, maybe first of all, we can identify who is this leader. Someone can help us to identify this leader. Yeah.
Yeah, that is Hitler.
Yeah, it's Hitler. So your one word for Hitler?
Hey, I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah.
I miss the word. Very.
Yeah, I can see already there are
brutal.
Brutal. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I see even what is also coming on the chat, individualistic, cruel, selfish. So this is not really a good description of egocentric, I think if you're describing a leader or we are describing any one of us here, this is not something that we may want to be mentioned when our picture flashes out. It's not really good. But let's make it a little bit sweeter. So we have another leader here. This one, I'm sure we know her. So what is your one word about this leader? About
Selfless.
selfless, very true. Mother Teresa, selfless, sacrificial, and I think these are very good attributes of a leader. Sacrificial, selfless, visionary, humanity, kind. Wow. These are positive. These are positive. Then let's look at this leader here. We have this leader here, our second president. So what is your one word for him? What's your one word?
Dictatorial.
Yeah?
Dictatorial.
Uh-huh. Oh, dictator. That's also what Maureen is saying. Selfish. Smart politician. Yeah. Peaceful. Authoritarian. For him, it's a mix. I can see there is a mix there of both positives and some of them that might not be. Yeah, patriotic. Patriotic. Actually, two people are saying patriotic, and I think that came out very strong from his leadership. Professor of politics, Daniel Kimemia. Thank you so much. How about this man? This man. We are now in Zimbabwe. How about this man in Zimbabwe? What's your one word? Wise?
Selfish.
Selfish. Selfish. Someone is saying wise, determined. So it's also a mix. Don't care. Patriotic. Yeah, we can see the mix again here. The mix of two. Then we have this lady here. We have this lady here. Your one word. Your one word about Professor Wangari Maathai.
Passionate.
Passionate. You're saying brave, humble, patriotic, amongst others. Focused. These are also positive comments. Caring or positive attributes. Determined. Wow, thank you so much. How about this last person here? Principled, decisive. The last person here, can we be able to identify who this person is? Someone maybe can help us to identify who we are talking about.
Myself.
Yeah, true. So what is your one word about you? Your one word about you. Your one word about you. So let's assume you are not in this class and your picture just flashed. What will be the one word that people will say about you as a leader? So that one we will not share, but think about it and maybe write it down so that you can start working towards that. That's very important. So there are 4 important leadership skills. These were also discussed by this institution, Center for Creative Leadership. This one institution that has really invested in leadership. So we have looked at it from their perspective and just enriched Self-awareness, what we've been talking about and what we'll continue talking about, communication, influence, and learning agility. So awareness, having an understanding of yourself, of your values, will unpack that. That ability to communicate and connect with the people, be an effective communicator, being able to influence, be comfortable persuading, promoting, and also delegating, learning agility, know when to change course and help others to do the same. So we look at self-awareness first. Is the first step to self-improvement. If I look at that mirror, what I'm seeing, not really what I'm seeing as per now, but what I'm seeing probably even in the future. It gives me the route in terms of my growth, my journey as a leader. So self-awareness is becoming more aware of different aspects of the self, including maybe the traits, the behavior, the feelings, personality, also the capability, and is the first very important component of the self-concept to emerge, the identity and the purpose. So personal development encompasses this, and this self-awareness comes in handy. Again, we have self-knowledge, identity, talents, potential, capital, quality of life, dreams, aspiration, all these are part of the aspects that we can be able to pick from our self-awareness. So the personal values, need to be aware of my personal values, intentionally build them. Strengths over weaknesses, we look at the SWOT analysis briefly, and then explore your own passions, and which you'll be able to leverage on. And this is also part of the vital few that we discussed in the earlier slide. So one of the tools for personal awareness, which I am sure maybe most of us have come across, is what we refer to as the SWOT analysis, where you're able to look at your own strength, the strength, you look at your weaknesses or the areas that you can improve, you look at the threats, and also you can look at the opportunities. So SWOT will help us to better understand how to play or maximize our strengths and also manage our weaknesses, as it also helps us to uncover the opportunities for growth and how to deal with the threats that could be able to, could hinder our growth. So as we undertake your own personal SWOT analysis, you look at the strength. It can be education, it can be skills, and the others that are listed there, the abilities. And if you operate on your line of strength, then 20% input will give you 80% output. So there will be impact. For the weakness, it can be work habits, it can be an habit, it can be an attitude or personality trait. And if you operate on your weakness, then you will spend 80% input to get 20% output. Yeah, so some of the weaknesses can be converted, or they can be managed, or they can even be delegated. But not the attitude, not the habits. Those ones we have to handle them ourselves. Opportunities, we are looking at the industry trends. We are looking at maybe technology advancement, looking at the network and collaboration that we can leverage on. Threats, it can be competition, can be the shifts in technology that can render some of our businesses obsolete. Remember, I've been sharing about some of the companies like Nokia and others. So it's good to always study the environment so that you can align properly. So the internal, the strength, we are saying build on this, enhance. Weakness, see if you need to resolve, reduce, delegate, or convert. For the opportunity, exploit, expand, maximize. For threats, maybe you can avoid, thwart, or even eliminate if possible. So SWOT analysis is one, important for you as a person and also important for the organization. So that is one of the tools. The second tool that we can use for self-awareness is what we refer to as personality colors, personality colors. I don't know if any of us is aware of your own personality color and what it means. This is just an indication. It may not really clearly define you, but it can give you an indication. And we say that sometimes you can be a mix of colors, but there's always that one dominant color that tends to describe you best. So is there any one of us here who is aware of your own personality color and what it means? Personality color and what it means, any of us? Okay. So at the end of this, all of us will share our personality color after I've taken you through. So we have I'll just focus on these four. They're quite a number. So let me just focus on the four. So for the blue, you're saying these are guys or leaders who speak this kind of a language. Let's do it right. For the reds, let's do it now. So this is a language. For the green, let's do it in a caring way. For the yellow, let's do it together. So is any of you can pick your language here from this, but we'll build on this. So yellow are more of caregiver. That's why they like doing it together or working together. Blue are more of adventurous. So they focus on let's do it right. For the green, they are analytical. Let's do it in a caring way. So they want to really look at all perspectives and analyze. For the red, they are aggressive, and also they are very determined. So they focus on let's do it now. Again, if we look at it in a more deeper way, we'll see, for example, blue, they focus on doing things correctly, understand how to adapt and connect. Green, let's do it in a kind way, understanding others, getting agreement. The red, it's about doing it now. They're more of action oriented. And then the yellows, we are saying do it together, understanding me. They focus somehow in themselves, but they also like the issues of teamwork. So blue, cautious, precise, deliberate, questioning, and also formal. The greens, they are caring, encouraging, sharing, patient, and very relaxed. Red, competent, competitive, demanding, determined, strong-willed, purposeful. How about the yellow? It's very social, dynamic, demonstrative, enthusiastic, and also persuasive. So if you look at it from leadership perspective, we are saying blue people, the strength, they are very detailed, accountable, they are thinkers, they are planners. For the weakness, they are perfectionists and also a bit inflexible. They can be indecisive, and maybe they can also be mean in a way. Red, they're ambitious, confident, daring, and very disciplined, but they can be impatient and demanding amongst the others that I've listed there. For the green, we are saying they are compassionate, team player, loyal, comply, but again, they can be stubborn. They can also compromise. How about the yellow? They have a lot of energy to socialize. Very lively, they take risks. They have no problem with taking risks, and they inspire. They can talk a lot. They can seem to be a little bit careless and also indisciplined because they are very outgoing. So we are saying, if you look at this blue, they are more introversion. So they're more, they tend to look more inward. And so the introversion and thinking style is task focused. They're calm, under pressure, thoughtful, and objective. The red, they are extroversion and thinking, high activity, working with others, being logical, and also they focus on facts. How about the green? Introversion and feeling. So an approach of favoring reflection, harmony, and I think harmony has come out even in the previous discussion. And then for the sunshine yellow, extroversion and feeling. So socially, very social amongst the other qualities that we have looked at. So if you're in a lift, how will these people behave? if you are in a lift, how will this behave? Blue, so they will mentally calculate the combined weight of all passengers and compares to maximum posted weight restrictions. They may wait for next elevator. So if they do their calculation and feel, wow, we are not safe, we have exceeded the number, they will wait. For the red, a red will go straight into the elevator and press the button repeatedly. They close the lift as quickly as possible. For the green, they will actually use the open door button to help others get in. Yeah, they'll be there holding the open door button to help others come in. How about the yellow? They see elevator as a great opportunity to catch up and chat with people. So they may hold the door open to finish the conversation with others who wants to get off. So if you look at these qualities that I've shared here, what is your dominant color? What is your dominant color? And I think this one can come out from all of us. I said it can be a mix, but it can also, there's always be a dominant color. It's good to understand yourself, and also it's good also to understand the people that you are leading, because all these colors are very important, and all these people are important in different times and seasons of leadership and in different situations of leadership. Maggie, you are saying I'm a mix of green and yellow. Mix of green and yellow. What a good mix. Thank you, Maggie. Let me see the others. The others. And maybe I'm looking at my time, so you could allow me to move on as we look at the chat. So just continue sharing. We look at them as we continue. Otherwise, I'll move on to the 4 temperaments. These ones, I'm sure we know, we have interacted with them. So allow me not to say much, but to say the sanguine, highly talkative, enthusiastic, active, and social. So if we equate this to the colors that we have looked at, sanguine will follow under which color? Maybe this one, someone can just unmute and mention, because already the chat is very active. So sanguine will fall to which color based on the description that we have shared?
Yellow.
Yeah, yellow, true. Yeah, and then we have choleric, more extroverted, short-tempered, they are independent, decisive, goal-oriented, ambitious, result-oriented. So this one will be more aligned to which color?
I think blue.
Yeah, blue. Yeah, blue. Let's see the others, and then we'll be able to conclude, because all of them will fall under, each color will be under one of them. So melancholic, they are analytical, detail-oriented, deep thinkers, and feelers. They're introverted and try to avoid being singled out. So which ones are these? They're analytical, detail-oriented.
Green.
Blue.
Green.
Oh, green. Are we all in agreement? Green? Yeah, green. How about the last one there? Phlegmatic, tends to be relaxed, peaceful, quiet, and easygoing. They are sympathetic, care about others, yet they try to hide their emotions. They are good at generalizing ideas or problems to the world and making compromises. Which ones are these? Which ones are these? Maybe let's go up here. Let's go up here briefly. Yeah, let's look at this. And maybe from here we can be able to say, so the analytical, Analytical, cool blue, cautious, precise, deliberate, questioning, formal. So blue are quite analytical. For the green, they are caring, encouraging, sharing, patient, relaxed. So from this, I think we can now be able to, because I think if we look at this now, we can be able to place them appropriately. So phlegmatic will be which one? I think those are the green, if I'm right. Yeah.
I think we need to restart so that we allows there.
Yeah.
It's like we have a confusion here and there.
Yeah, true. So I think for the sanguine, it's clear, those are yellow. Choleric, they can be more of red, more of goal oriented. And then melancholic, they're more of blue, analytical. Phlegmatic, they're more of green, relaxed, peaceful. It's all about, they're very sympathetic. Yeah, so in a way, but we said we can't just box them. This is just an indication. Okay. So there are some developmental theories that I just want to flash through, just to help us also in part of the awareness. And we are saying most developmental theories, they agree that what differentiates leaders is not so much their philosophy of leadership, which is still very important. The philosophy is still very important. But there are also other personality or styles of leadership, what we call the action logic. The action logic is basically the way people interpret their surroundings, basically the way we think, or the way people think, the way people interpret issues. And you can connect it back even to what we discussed earlier, the issue of the attitude. And again, leaders can be categorized in that format where we have opportunistic. So they focus on winning at any price, a bit manipulative, and also focus on self-survival. So their strength is good, maybe good in sales or other activities that are listed there. And then we have the diplomat. These are loyal, they respects existing norms, they avoid overt conflict. We have experts, values expertise and logic, and they seek rationale and efficiency. Yeah. And then we have what we call the achievers. Yeah. Achieve strategic goals through teams, interested in self-improvement through feedback and introspection, future-oriented, amongst the other qualities that are listed there. So these are more of conventional styles of leadership. So, and we started from the lower level. So optimists are at the very low as we go up. So as we rise up, you realize the styles of leadership are also improving. And even as we look at this, as we continue to build up, we have what we refer to as pluralist or individualist. So they explores assumptions and cultural conditioning of his or her socialization processes. They're able to recognize multiplicity of possible meanings. They strive to integrate personal and organizational values and goals. So they are effective in consulting and entrepreneurial ventures. Then we have what the category we refer to as strategist. These ones, they foster organizational and personal transformations, understands the interdependencies among the systems. They are more of leaders who are very fierce in terms of resolve and humility. They know their own strengths, yet acknowledge their vulnerability. Yeah, and then we have at the helm, we have the alchemist. And these are the leaders we describe as they generate social transformation, simultaneously focus on short and long-term goals and global perspectives. They are aware of the paradox. So they create a learning organizations, leaders of society-wide transformation. So as we move through the developmental theories, from the lower one, the optimist, to the higher one is what we refer to as the alchemist. So it's good to also look at these theories and also look at ourselves and see where we fall and how to be able to continue growing in terms of moving on upward in this ladder. So the second, among the four core leadership, the second one, wow, see our time is gone, but just allow me to mention, and as we summarize, we have communication. This has been singled out quite a number of times as one of the areas that is wanting in leadership. And communication is key because achieving or acquiring a vision is one task, but the other major task is to share or to sell out the vision. So communication then plays a major role there. And I think leadership is basically, they are twins with communication. So communicating information and ideas effectively is one of the success factor for any leader. Yeah, so especially when you're looking at some of the styles of leadership, like participative or collaborative or relational leadership, then communication has to be anchored in this kind of, for you to be a successful leader, especially in these categories. And emotional and social intelligence will always play a big role for any effective communicator. So John Maxwell says that everyone communicates, but few connect. So as a leader, do I communicate and connect, or do I communicate only without testing my connection? So I'll always try to see, did I connect with the people? And even our interaction here tonight is always good just to keep on trying to check, are we communicating, are we connecting? So people may hear your words, but they feel your attitude, just as we saw earlier. And Stephen Covey, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he says, seek first to understand, then to be understood. Seeking real understanding affirms the other person and what they have to say. So as a leader, I think this is very important tonight, that I should always strive first.
Yeah, we have lost. He's back.
He's back.
Sorry for that. We are on this technology, and sometimes we'll be knocked out, but we'll come back. And that is what we have been, we say is resilience. Yeah, so as we conclude, we're saying that seek first to understand, then to be understood. So that means when I'm listening to someone, I'll try to be able to understand the perspective without even probably phrasing the answer. So that as I phrase the answer, I'll be able to connect with that person. So communication is key, and we have a whole lesson on this. And then we have influence. The key to successful leadership today is influence, not authority. Ken Blanchard. The key to successful leadership today is influence more than authority. There's a book I was reading by one of our pastors, and he was saying when he came to the leadership, the pastoral leadership, he was challenged by the senior pastor of that church. He told him, I've given you the position, but you need to go and get permission from the people to lead them. So you have the position, but the permission is given by the people. And that has to work with influence. So how you're able to work effectively with the people requires our ability sometimes to present logical and compelling arguments in quote, and engaging in give and take, developing your influential skills continuously. And that is what we also referred to as in terms of the communication. So I think ultimately influence allows a leader to get things done and achieve desirable outcomes. So this is an area that we'll continue to discuss all through, and we can influence through different areas, as we'll be seeing from here, through logical appeals, where I'm able to rationally, intellectually, skillfully present my case. Emotional appeals, connecting your message with the people, yeah, empathy, compassion, and also convincing presentations. And then we have cooperative appeals through involvement, through collaboration, through delegation, amongst others. These are just some of the ways that we can be able to influence. So lastly, we have learning agility and a leader's ability to be constantly in a learning mode. A leader has to be in a learning mode continuously. Yeah, and that's how we're able to achieve peak performance. So active learning is necessary to develop as a leader. And we always say that a leader is a reader. A leader is a reader. And a leader is a perpetual learner. So this can be being able to recognize the skills that we require, the behaviors that I need to adjust, the attitudes that I need probably to work on. So learning agility will involve learning from even our own mistakes, asking questions, being open to feedback, probably even sometimes learning a new skill, taking advantage of opportunity to learn, amongst others. And therefore we are saying this, that learning agility will always involve creating a culture of learning and inspiring learning in others. So I just want to say these are very, very important qualities that probably we need to reflect on more and more, and see the areas that we have some gaps, or the areas that we feel we need to work on improving. And as we do that, we'll always become better leaders. And as we said, a better leader is always equals to a better life. So I'll want to pause here. This is the leadership challenge for lesson 4. Take some time just to go through your own personal SWOT analysis and identify areas that you need to work on in terms of improvement, or maybe in areas that you need to leverage on more. If there are some weaknesses that you need to work in terms of conversion, in terms of management, in terms of delegation, and probably the opportunities that you can leverage, and some of the threats that you need to watch out for. So I'll share this again on the self-evaluation link, and then we'll have some time to undertake this. Otherwise, leaders, want to appreciate all of you for just coming on board and helping us to have this conversation that is helping us become better leaders. I'll want to pause there, and maybe in case there is any comment, maybe just one comment, we can take one comment, and then we'll be able to pause. Yeah, Silas, I can see, is there a WhatsApp group? We have a WhatsApp group, Silas, and we'll be able to add you. You can share your number on the chat here. I'll add you immediately after this. Thank you, Silas. Yeah. For the colors, I see we had yellow, red, blue, red, blue, mix of green and red. So there's quite of a mix. And this will be good when we'll be having our team building. These ones will come out more clear during the team building. Otherwise, leaders, unless there is a comment, I'll want us to post there. So Silas, you can share your number. Any other comment? Any other question? We are good. Mr. Mwangi, any comment you can share as we close?
Thank you, Joseph, that very wonderful presentation. I think this group must be very lucky to go through this kind of training when is actually expecting change. And you have actually talked about something which I like a lot, that leadership is influence, no matter where we are. And this is exactly what Jesus was able to. He was able to accomplish his task in 3.5 years. He was able to do what he needed to do. And from the introduction of the book you are reading, that is the purpose-driven reader, we are able to see it comes out very, very. You've also been able to do a quick analysis on the aspect of personality, because to a large extent, it influences of influence. What kind of work we can be able to do. And I think some of these things come very, very effortless. You really don't have to struggle to bring the reader with you. It just flows, because you don't have really to struggle to find out exactly. Come out very our discussion. I would encourage the team as a parting shot is that you are aware of us. So if you're able to discover the purpose, this leadership course is driving strategies that we put in, it is possible our journey. As, the course unveils my challenge to the teams, because the explanation is quite good and Victorian and all that. If you're able to start doing your journal ahead of this course, it is possible to be very clear and as a hint to maybe come up with your journal, you just pick a piece of paper and on top, on the upper side of you indicate specific years and major milestone that has happened in your every year, what has happened up to where you are today, all the positive things that you can be able to identify yourself. It could be an exam, passing an exam, getting married, starting this, all those positive things. And that are could be an illness, anything that is negative, that year it took place and when. It's almost possible to see the direction you may be moving in, because these events in a way may be driving you towards something. And finally, we are told things never happen. They are actually influenced by people. Nothing happens, influenced by people. So what is your role? Are you going to watch things happen, or you are going to? May God bless you as you proceed on with this course to discover the purpose. Over to Joseph.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mwangi. So I will share this recording. Please take some time just to listen to it again. I'll post it on YouTube and then I'll share the link. And then remember to undertake your book review so that when we are discussing in plenary or in groups, you'll also be part of the discussions. You'll also at least be able to contribute and also deepen the understanding of what we are studying together. Remember also to undertake the self-evaluation, because that is where the challenge is. So immediately I share the link, please go through and do it. So normally we'll share one update per week. It might be long, but it has everything. So just go through it and undertake what is required of us. Otherwise, leaders, we are very grateful, and we hope and believe that this is going to have a huge impact in our leadership wherever we are, and our people will be able to see a difference and appreciate our leadership. And at the end of it, as we said from the very beginning, if all of us do our best without really caring who gets the credit, we'll be able to achieve much. Because by extension, we are all working for one person, and that is our Heavenly Father. So thank you so much. Just a request that we unmute and conclude by sharing the words of grace. And may the grace
of our Lord Jesus Christ
and the love of
God,
fellowship of the Spirit forever.
Amen.
Amen. So have a blessed night, everyone.